This is India Radio. In the program Spotlight, we now bring you a discussion on enabling environment for good governance in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The participants are Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Neelab Srivastav, journalist.
As we complete an year of the abrogation of Article 370, which gave a special status to the erstwhile state of Jammu and Kashmir, today we have two new union territories in the form of Jammu Kashmir, the other being Ladakh. And when we see the enabling environment vis-a-vis good governance and people-centric measures, every one of us knows that when this abrogation was done last year by the central government, a lot of talk about development was there. A lot of union ministers traveled both the union territories. So your analysis of whatever has happened vis-a-vis development in the last 1 year?
After abrogation of Article 370 and bifurcation of the state into two with union territories, Team Modi adopted an integrated approach to build a state-of-the-art infrastructure and unleashed a slew of fast-track social welfare and employment generation schemes and programs, especially among the small, medium and micro enterprises, cottage industry, handicraft, handloom, horticulture. The aim was socio-economic emancipation of the deprived section of the society in all the three regions. Over the last 70 years, in the name of Article 370, the people of Jammu and Kashmir were deprived of development. That wrong has been undone by the decision of Modi government on 5th of August last year. So obviously there were a lot of hopes and expectations from the central government, and that is why, as you very rightly said, Prime Minister Modi directed his team that at least one cabinet minister must be visiting Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh in a week. And that, in a way, opened the doors for the all-round development, whether it was in terms of power sector or infrastructure like road, highways, and similarly in other sectors as well. And that is continuing. In fact, a large number of projects are still in the pipeline, particularly in difficult terrains. The abrogation of Article 370 and bifurcation has opened, literally started a new era of peace, progress and prosperity for all the three regions. And the people are very happy.
Right, Tandon Sahab. Also, when we talk about development initiatives, creation of infrastructure, so it also boils down to ensuring employment to the working hand, to the youth, to the people who would look so many avenues. We know both the union territories are rich with natural resources. There are a lot of opportunities vis-a-vis tourism and production of fruit, local artisans. So what are the different avenues that would have now been nurtured in the since 1 year, and initiation of all those new schemes vis-a-vis employment and also people-to-people participation so that they come into the mainstream with the country as such?
One apprehension which was paramount in the minds of people of Jammu and Kashmir, particularly the valley, was that with the abrogation of 370, their floodgates will be open for non-resident of the state, and they may be taking over all the employment avenues, and that will deprive the local youth of the benefits of the abrogation. Exactly contrary has happened. No person from outside the state is allowed to take employment. In fact, the Prime Minister very clear last year itself that all the employments which now will be generated will go to the local youth, and that is now the scene on the ground. The youth is not only getting chances of better employment opportunities, they are now joining civil services, they are joining security forces, and they are excelling in sports, in education, and all that is quite visible. And therefore, the road construction, highway construction, and all these development taking place, the entire employment opportunities are going to the local people. And in fact, scenes in Jammu and Kashmir now are that the youth is now coming forward, and they are in fact not only taking advantage of the fruits of development which are taking place, but they are also coming forward and joining hands with local administration in isolating antisocial elements. So all these steps, I think, are bearing fruit. And if we take the case of Ladakh, the region has been deprived, and now, if I may use the word, sky is the limit for the central government assistance in terms of financial packages and development of infrastructure, tourism, and the agro-based industry in Ladakh. The livestock activities have increased. Farm-based economic activities are also now increase, augmentation of irrigation facilities and horticulture and cash crops. All these are increasing productivity in Ladakh, and it is putting additional money in the pockets of the farmers, particularly in Ladakh. So I think Ladakh, which was denied the fruits of development over the last 70 years, is going to be the main beneficiary of bifurcation and abrogation of Article 370.
One of the important initiatives that has taken place, Tandon Sahab, especially in Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory, was the Back to Village program. Now, this outreach program was basically that the government officers will go to each village, stay there, talk to the local, understand what their issues are. And the Panchayati Raj system, for every one of us, knows that for the schemes to actually reach the last man in the line or last man who deserves the benefit, it is very essential that you get to know what are their grievances, what is that you're going to offer, what are the government schemes that can enable them. So what has been your analysis of this particular program, the overall overarching frame of the Panchayati Raj system in the last 1 year?
From day one, the emphasis was on strengthening the democratic apparatus in Jammu and Kashmir administration. And that was to start at the Panchayati Raj level. And now the Government of India has approved a creation of block development fund of rupees 25 lakhs for each of the development blocks. And it will be at the disposal of the Block Development Council chairperson. I think this is significant development in terms of promoting the local self-government. And the idea is to strengthen and empower the Panchayati Raj system in Ladakh. The administration has also announced a life insurance cover of 25 lakhs each to all the elected members of Panchayati Raj institutions and urban local bodies also, in case of death or due to any terrorist-related incident. The idea is to strengthen the grassroots democracy by providing a sense of security to the elected members of the local bodies. This way, there is a sense of confidence among the people.
One of the important watchwords post the abrogation, post the creation of the two union territories has been the one nation, one constitution theory. Now, as per government information data, we know that at least 890 total central laws that were probably not applicable to the erstwhile state of Jammu Kashmir and the two union territories now. And also 164 state laws were repealed. Some about 138 laws were modified and applied. So, Tandon Sahab, we also know that the central government has, not only in Kashmir, but has done away with so many obsolete laws. So, what has been the approach of the government vis-a-vis when you ensure that all the things that are applicable to the new union territories of Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh?
The state of Jammu and Kashmir, because of Article 370, was deprived of so many central laws basically enacted for the benefit of the people. And those central laws were not applicable because of Article 370. Now with that Article 370 gone, the laws which have now been implemented are now available to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. They include, most importantly, the right to reservation for disempowered. This is shocking that the people of Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh, were deprived of the right of reservation and right to education, right to information. And then the Minimum Wages Act and the Minority Act. Along with that, there are so many other laws, particularly people who had migrated to Jammu and Kashmir after independence. They were denied their rightful place in the state. They were still being treated as outsiders. And there are so many other rules which were applicable in Jammu and Kashmir were detrimental to the interest of many people within the state also. For the girls' right to get the property right of their parents, the girls were denied this right just because they married someone outside Kashmir. So all these things are now things of the past, and a lot of betrayal which has been done in the name of Article 370, particularly in case of Ladakh, has now been undone. Basically, a new dawn of peace, prosperity and development has ushered in all the three regions, and now what is taking place is inclusive development and transparent governance.
Jammu Kashmir has also bore the brunt of terrorism for so long. Also the borders that it shares with both on this side, on the western side with Pakistan. We also have the Chinese border on the other side. But especially if we talk about the Jammu Kashmir region, Tandon Sahab, we know that a lot of terrorism activities were perpetrated by also recruiting the youth. They being lured away from the national mainstream, their minds being brainwashed, poisoned. So a lot of schemes that have also talked about scaling up of the educational infrastructure and also the training and skilling. So engaging the youth is also very important, which will give rich dividends to the new union territories, both Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh included.
Cross-border terrorism has always been a problem in Jammu and Kashmir, and we all know that our neighbor has always tried to exploit the situation by trying to radicalize the youth, by infiltration from across the border. Terrorism has been a major problem. But now we see that abrogation of 370 and bifurcation, a message has gone loud and clear to our neighbor that nothing is going to work now, because this came as a huge and rude shock to Pakistan that India could go ahead and execute these decisions. So there is an attempt to rake up this issue at the international fora, but we know that India has successfully defeated all the attempts by Pakistan to raise the Jammu and Kashmir bifurcation issue or abrogation of 370 and international fora. Even the attempt at the United Nations have failed, even attempts at the Organization of Islamic Unity. No Islamic world country has supported Pakistan on this issue. So it's a huge success of India's diplomacy that we have been able to engage the entire international community as far as Jammu and Kashmir is concerned in a very constructive manner. So that has demoralized Pakistan, and therefore they are looking towards China if some mischief could be created along the border in north of India, particularly in Ladakh. But we know that India's preparedness is also very much known to the world. And I think all attempts to create mischief along the border, whether it is northern border or our western border, have been foiled very successfully by India's security forces, and also a very strong and strict vigil is being taken along the border to stop infiltration from across the border. So I think it's a win-win situation for the people of Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and also fulfillment of long-standing commitment which 3 generations of rulers have made to the people of India, but it has been accomplished. Last year, 5th of August month, I think a golden chapter in India's history as far as state of Jammu and Kashmir is concerned.
Tandon Saab, you did say that 1 year is a very small time. There are many more years and many much time to go now. But as a keen observer of the Kashmir affairs, as a person who has seen development strides of the country in general, how do you see the next year or maybe years from here on vis-a-vis when it comes to especially the development of the people and the region as such?
I think the fruits of developments are already visible. Unfortunately, due to Corona, things are now not visible as far as tourism is concerned, but a lot of promotional activities are underway to promote tourism both in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, and also the road and rail connectivity is now being developed, and many projects are underway. But I think we are on road to success as far as the issue of Kashmir is concerned. It has been resolved once and for all. It is no longer an issue vis-a-vis Pakistan, because the entire international community has also realized that Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India, and the solution which the government of India has done in the last 1 year, 5th of August, I think has been universally accepted. So now the development process will prove us right when we actually deliver it to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. As I said earlier, the youth is now realizing that they were being misguided. There was an attempt to radicalize them in the name of separatism. But once participation has started, they are now joining security forces, they are competing for civil services, they are also excelling in sports, education. So all these signs are very positive indicators that what the government of India did last year was the correct step, and it was eventually put Jammu and Kashmir at par with the development map of India, and no region, whether it is Ladakh, Jammu or Kashmir, will be having any kind of discrimination. So central assistance is now flowing. There is no dearth of central assistance, and that is one issue, I think, which is being addressed by the central government under the direct supervision of the Prime Minister.
Thank you very much for talking to us.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on enabling environment for good governance in Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh. The participants were Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and Neelab Srivastav, journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our website, newsonair.com. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsdtalks@gmail.com.